What's going on, everybody? This is the Stormy Poet coming to you with this edition of the Levels of Love tips. Very glad that you could join me tonight wherever you are, whichever platform you're on, whether it be on YouTube or Facebook. Just recently got a Twitter going. I'm still getting used to that. I'm still trying to get the hang of that. SoundCloud, any of my platforms, Root of All Love. If you're a subscriber over there, I appreciate it. Do me a favor if you're listening right now, please, if you will, and hit the like button and also hit the little bell to be notified whenever I post anything. The like button helps in terms of getting the preview up to other people as far as like if they're interested in something that they might be interested in. If you ever wonder what makes those little things pop up on, the sidebar there, it's attributed to that. So please, I would appreciate it if you will. Also, this is brought to you by rootofalllove.com. If you could, if you will, whenever you get a chance, you can go over there and subscribe, and anything I post, including material like this, it will alert you actually by email. Go straight to your email. So I just wanted to give a couple of introductions there. Of course, I am the Stormy Poet. Very glad. Hope everybody's doing good out there. Like I always say, if there's anything you need to talk about that you feel like you can't talk about with anybody else, if you're going through anything personal that you want to get off your chest, I'm all ears. If you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling suicidal, I have a plethora of resources I'm more than happy to extend to you. So do feel free to take advantage of that. But I hope everybody's doing good. I'm doing really good. It's really cold. Recording this on a Saturday night in my apartment. It is just, the wind is howling out there. It's supposed to be spring, but we got a late cold front coming through. But it's all good, man. It was nice today to have the rain and everything. This is like my habitat. This is the weather I work best in. I don't know why, but the rain and the cloudiness energizes me. So I'm doing very well. I got the incense going on. I'm doing very well, and I hope you are too. But today, what I wanted to talk about in this Levels of Love tips is something I get emailed about a lot of, it comes up a lot when I'm giving advice here and there on my various platforms, but it's basically men being too nervous to approach women. A lot of men struggle with this, and I see a lot of people, whether it be on any of my social media platforms, but I see a lot of people complaining about men approaching them in real just sleazy and disgusting ways. And a lot of that is, I know that it's attributed to how our society works and how it's set up as far as the way women are viewed and all that. But I also think it's attributed to men just don't really know, or they're too nervous to approach women. So they kind of try this throw it against the wall and see what sticks kind of method, if that makes any sense. It's like, I'm nervous, I don't really know what to say, so let me just gather enough courage to blurt something out and hope that it sticks and hope that it works. That's a really ineffective way to approach women. And some guys genuinely are just so nervous they just don't talk to women altogether. I remember back in my, not to sound like an old man or anything, but back in my day, I ran into that issue a lot myself, where I was just terrified to talk to women. Just absolutely terrified for no reason, So I'm sure a lot of other men struggle with that. A lot of men might be may have some type of social anxiety, or they're introverts and they just don't really know where to start or really how to approach, and that's okay. I myself am introvert, and I totally and completely understand where the nervousness stems from, and I really wanted to dive into why we're so nervous to speak to a woman that we like or somebody that we're feeling. And I came up with a couple of reasons why. And well, the overall reason is just an overall lack of confidence. But I really want to dive into where that lack of confidence stems from and how you can actually rectify that as a man. And that's not to say a lot of women aren't nervous when it comes to men either. But since I'm a dude, I'm speaking from the dude's perspective in this regard. So I came up with a couple of of reasons for that overall lack of confidence and how you can actually rectify that, fellas. So this is for you. If you're too nervous, or that there's somebody that you like but you really just don't really know how to step to them. But that overall lack of confidence, the first thing on the list that I came up with is that your finances aren't in order. I've been in this position myself, and I like to use my own dating past failures to give advice so that people don't make a lot of the same mistakes I did. And one of the things I preach constantly, you'll see it in a lot of my work, and you hear it in a lot of my podcasts. And, some people might agree or disagree or think that it's, misogynistic, that you have to make income and you have to be the breadwinner. But I can tell you from personal experiences, if your finances aren't in order, there's just a lack of confidence with yourself. And I don't mean you have to be rich or that you have to be, swimming in cash. I mean, there's something to be said when it comes to your confidence and how you feel about yourself and your self-image when you're financially unstable. And unfortunately for me, speaking as a black male, based off the statistics and how much wealth that we don't have, that white people do, a lot of men are in this position, unfortunately, especially a lot of black males are in this position. Your finances aren't in order. And there's nothing wrong with that, as long as you're working on it. But I preach this a lot. I don't recommend, and what I preach a lot is I don't recommend, and I tell this to a lot of guys, if financially you aren't stable, it's not time for you to date. You don't need to be worrying about trying to build a relationship or trying to date. You need to be worrying about trying to get your finances in order, because that really does play does have a big impact on your self-esteem. And when you're approaching a woman, it's all about confidence. It's all about confidence, or the majority of it is about confidence. I wouldn't say it's all about confidence, but that's what women are looking for. And if your finances aren't in order, like, for example, back then when my finances weren't in order, I was trying to ask out women, and deep in the back of my head, I'm like, I really want to talk to her, and I really like her, and I'm really feeling her, and I'm really digging her. But I know if I tried to go pick this woman up for a date, my car might not make it there, or I might not make it back home, or my tags is illegal on my car, so I'm gonna be worried about being pulled over while I'm on a date with her, when I'm trying to take her somewhere and try to pick her up. So you see where I'm coming from, fellas, and I'm not saying you have to be in the finest class, but when your finances are in order, you can't dress neat and tidy, and you can't get sharp. Your hair is kind of janky. You're not shaving. Your confidence just gets real low, man. Your shoes is kind of raggedy and stuff like that. It's you're thinking all this in the back of your head, even though you're trying to block it out. You can't even concentrate on really trying to have a decent intellectual, or not even intellectual, but just having a decent conversation with the person. It's kind of creeping in the back of your psyche. You can't even form a vibe or a connection with the woman that you're trying to speak to, because you're kind of thinking about that in the back of your head. So it's better to hold off on dating and trying to approach anybody until your money is right, until you have some type of stability where you can actually, let's say you do meet a young lady that you're feeling, and you want to go drive somewhere, you ain't got to worry about the cops pulling you over because your tags is messed up because you couldn't afford to get that part changed on your car, and so they wouldn't clear you at inspection. So focus on that first. If your finances are in order, I understand there's, you might come across somebody and you're feeling them, and you never know when you might meet a person like that again, but still, it's less stressful. And let's say y'all do hit it off. Let's say you do start something up with this person. It's very stressful to not be stable and to try to build a relationship too, because you don't have to cancel a lot. The car's messed up. Your light bill got cut off or something like that, and you don't want to come into the house because there's roaches everywhere. Like, it's real stressful to even try to build a relationship in that kind of climate. And this is speaking from experience. I'm not just pulling this out of the air. I was in a relationship back in my young 20s. I'm talking like 21, 22. And I really wasn't doing well financially. And it was actually a long distance relationship. And I couldn't hardly ever come down there because, it's 60 miles each way. So, I'm like, I don't really know if my wheels is going to make it. The tires is all bald and everything like that. I'm like, so we go long periods without seeing each other, and that put a real big strain on the relationship. So get your finances in order first. There's always going to be women. There's always going to be somebody you're feeling. There's billions and billions of people on this planet. If you get your finances in order and then go date, it just makes for a much more robust experience. You don't have to worry about your finances and if your money's right and how it's going to look to the woman that you're dealing with, and you can just enjoy the relationship, the growing of the relationship for what it is. Now, the second reason that there's an overall lack of confidence with you fellas is you're insecure about things you cannot change. Now, what do I mean by that? No matter who you are as a man, you're insecure about something on you. Whether it be, you got a big forehead, your nose is too wide, you got a big KRS-One nose, your feet are too big, anything, you got some type of skin rash that comes back every 4 years. I don't know. Everybody's self-conscious about something. There's nobody out there that's completely 100% just totally secure with everything that's on them. And a lot of the times we kind of magnify those things and make them bigger than what they really are. When, the average person might not even care. But hey, let's say you got a weird birthmark on your left cheek or some weird stuff like that. Hey man, the thing is, that's stuff you really can't change. Not unless you go get surgery or something like that, but some stuff you just can't change. And so you have to accept that. You have to accept that and learn to rock with it. You can't let that really mess with you, because these are things that you didn't really ask for, that you really can't control. So you shouldn't put that on yourself, like, as you blaming yourself for something that happened to you, or, there's a certain feature about yourself. Like, stuff's in your genes and stuff happens, and you just got to kind of own that. Let me tell you something, fellas. When it comes to women, really, like I mentioned earlier, it really is more about confidence than actual physical appearance. It's about your personality, how interesting your personality is. There's some butt ugly dudes out there that women love because their personalities are fly, because they have a ton of confidence, because they're intellectual, because of how they carry themselves. Women are more into that. They can overlook little flaws and stuff. And there are some really superficial women out there, just like there's some really superficial dudes. But for the most part, if you're an interesting guy and you can carry a good conversation and you're respectful and polite and attentive, women will rock with you. So those little BS insecurities that you have, those little, my left thumb is bigger than my right thumb. I don't want to see my thumb because one's bigger than the other. You just got to get over all that, man. Women are not really checking for that anyway. They're not really tripping off those little insignificant flaws you might have. They're really not tripping over that. They're not superficial about looks like we are. We're very superficial about looks, generally speaking. Men just are. Women are more concerned with how you present yourself. So let's say you got a big forehead and your forehead's too big. You walk up to that woman that you're interested in, and if your gear is tight, if you're shaved up, looking nice, and you're confident, man, she ain't gonna care about that big Frankenstein forehead of yours. If you got something to actually talk about, something that's interesting, and you can show her your intellect and your depth, the depth of that forehead is not gonna matter. While I'm on that topic, let me add something. I gotta throw this in because this fits perfectly into what I'm trying to hit home here. I'll even go as far as, let me get real with you for a second. I'll even go as far as some women like little quirky stuff about dudes like that. Some women are into little quirky stuff. If your thumb's bigger than your right thumb, I think that's kind of cute. They end up liking some stuff like that. Man, I used to be real self-conscious about my last name. And those of you know me know my last name. I'm not going to say my last name. But my last name sounds goofy as hell. And I used to be real self-conscious about that. I didn't want to tell women that. I didn't want to tell them what my last name was. And I would try to hide it. And they'd be like, what's your last name? And I'm like, oh, you know, I don't accept. I make up some excuse. I don't accept my last name because that comes out of slavery. And I don't want to... I be up there trying to hide my last name, trying to get one over on the females just so I don't have to tell them my name. And then I'll tell them something, and they're like, "Okay, I need to see your license because I don't trust you." The lie is not working, and now they suspicious. But the thing is, once I started telling more and more women my name, the women I was dating, they end up being like, "Oh, that's cute. Why would you be ashamed of that? I like it. That's kind of hot." I'm like, what? Yo, how does that work? So you never know, fellas. You just gotta own up to whatever flaws you have, rock with them, and say, you know what, man, forget these flaws. I can't change it anyway. I'm just gonna roll up, be confident. I'm gonna have my gear tight. I'm gonna show this woman that I mean business, and women can see past it. They're looking for that more than anything. They're not really caring about your physical attributes like that. They can overlook a lot of that stuff. Probably the most important thing I'll ever teach in these levels of love tips. But moving right along here, another thing is being afraid to mess up. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is you're speaking, or you're about to approach a lady. There's a lady that you like, and you really want to speak to her, but you don't want to walk up and say the wrong thing. You're scared that you might say something stupid or offensive. You're scared that you're not going to say the right exact thing at the right moment to, on some real suave and just over the top, perfect. I'm having a real hard time explaining that, but let me explain what I mean in regards to that. A lot of the times we learn how to approach women based off the movies that we see. And we forget movies are scripted. Real life is not scripted. That's what I'm trying to say by that. So, if you've seen a James Bond movie, he always knows the exact perfect thing to say to the woman, and he knows how to, they're sitting there talking, and she's like, "Oh, you saved my life," and he's like, "I can save a lot more than that." Just some real over the top, just extra arrogant, witty thing that fits that moment perfect. Real conversation with women does not work that way because conversations with people in general don't work that way. We don't live scripted conversation. When you're talking to a woman, it's whatever's on the fly. It's whatever the topic is at that point. It's whatever's in the surroundings. It's whatever's right then and there and in the moment. There is no pickup lines, and that's why I dislike these quote unquote pickup artists. Because you can go to YouTube and see a plethora of pickup artists, and they go to the woman and someone's filming them and they're saying all the right things. You have to ask her this. You have to ask her this question. You have to, if she touches her hair, that means say this. You have to move within this many steps with her, and this is the body language. That's really overcomplicating approaching women. It's not that complicated. I like to try to simplify things and keep things very, very simple in a very matter-of-factual type of manner. That pickup stuff, that's almost this. I don't even know if that's real. That's the first thing, is we don't know if they're actors or they're just trying to get views and stuff, and they going up to some actor. We don't know. So I like to keep things very practical. All that saying the right thing at the right moment and touching the hair and stuff, a woman could just be touching her hair because she's just touching her damn hair. That might not mean anything. So you really can't go off that type of stuff and try to make some type of script in your head. And another thing is, a lot of guys try to pre-plan out what they're going to say to the woman beforehand. And that's a big problem too, and that's why I say don't listen to the pickup artists, because every situation is different. So you might say some stuff that's out of context. That don't have nothing to do with anything. And plus, every woman is different. Every woman's not going to respond the same to all the things that you say. So what you have to do, if you're approaching somebody, is you have to be unafraid to mess up. So what if you mess up? Shrug that off and move on to something else. Just to give a quick icebreaker, let's say there's somebody that you see that's attractive. You're at a coffee house or you're somewhere and y'all are sitting there and you want to approach that person. Get creative, man. Look at something that person has on. Look at an accessory that person has. Look at that person's hair color. The thing is, it has to be genuine, what I'm about to say. But if there's something on it, just walk up and give a simple compliment. It's not complicated. That's using what's in the moment. Hey, man, I'm really feeling that purse, man. Oh, I appreciate that. What brand is that? Oh, it's so-and-so and so. Okay, do you normally buy that? I mean, is that a real popular brand? I've never heard of that brand before. Oh, no. It's or they might say, I don't know. Okay, well, man, I never heard of that, but the way you rocking that, man, I might have to check into that, man. I'm really feeling the ensemble. You just really got it going on. You doing all right today? Just make conversation. Women are not going to bite you. Now, if they ain't trying to be bothered, they might kind of give you some signals like, hey, man, they give you that little awkward look. Thanks. I got stuff to do. Okay, I appreciate that. I understand that. That's what's up. You have a great day. I just wanted to come give you a compliment. You take care of yourself. And keep it pushing. It's not complicated at all, fellas. If a woman's really feeling you, she's gonna continue the conversation. She might even interject and add something. Oh yeah, I buy this bag all the time. And have you ever? She might start asking you stuff. That's a good indicator to let you know that she's still interested. So you can't be afraid to mess up. You say something stupid, oh well, you just play past that. You say you stutter or say the wrong thing. You play past that. As long as you're being genuine, women can sense when you're being genuine and when you're being disingenuous. You have to know why you're trying to holler at her. Are you trying to have something casual? Or are you trying to have something exclusive? Women can tell when you're trying to throw some BS there, where they can smell that stuff from a mile away. It's gotta all be genuine. You cannot be disingenuous. So, you gotta have confidence behind what you're saying, and you gotta really mean it. And when you're approaching somebody and when you're being genuine, you're not gonna mess up. You might say something stupid, but you're gonna just be like, slip of the tongue. But anyway, what I was trying to say is you'll bypass that. So you can't be afraid to mess up. Also, another thing to kind of go back to the quirky thing that females like. Females kind of a little bit sometimes. I say sometimes. If you're just totally awkward and you just kind of rambling and mumbling and you kind of talking under your breath like this, and I was just wondering. She's like, what? I said I was just wondering if you want to, and you keep talking under your breath and you keep looking off. You're not making eye contact because you're scared to look at her. That represents a lack of confidence, and it feels like you're kind of trying to be deceitful in that particular moment. But the thing is, if you're a dude and you're trying to speak to a woman and you kind of mess up every now and then, or you kind of say the wrong thing, and you kind of look a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit nervous, women kind of respect that. Women kind of like that, because what they don't like is some creepy, overbearing dude really trying to get out on. That makes them uncomfortable as all get out. That's what's uncomfortable. If you're kind of like a little bit nervous, that kind of means that you're not harmless, but that kind of disarms them. Oh, he's legit kind of a little bit intimidated right now. All right, at least I know he's not this overbearing creep trying to really push up on me. They can that's kind of cute to them. Plus, it's kind of like it's kind of like giving them props and popping your collar at them a little bit, because they're like, damn, I'm that damn fly that this dude is getting a little bit nervous. I still got it. So they kind of like that. So don't be afraid to mess up, fellas. Plus, everybody's human. What they want to see is, they don't want to see this perfect dude. They want to see somebody who's human and somebody that they can relate to. Everybody screws up, so don't let that get in the way. Anyways, moving right along here, and this is the last point I'll make. This is a short episode tonight. I normally get an hour into stuff or 45 minutes into stuff, but I'm gonna keep it real simple. The last reason men are scared to talk to women, of the lack of confidence, I should say, the reason for the overall lack of confidence is that men place their manhood on acceptance. So a man goes and approaches a woman and gets turned down, and they put that, or they charge that to their manhood. Well, you weren't manly enough to get this woman to like you, so that means that you're less of a man. You know, you should have known the right thing to say. A real man would know what to say. A real man would take charge. You put this over the top, this over the top charge to your manhood. You place everything and you consider yourself less a man for not pulling the female that you're interested in, which is a bunch of garbage. Let me tell you something. Every man on the face of the earth has been rejected. Rejected is a strong word. I won't even say rejected. It's just a woman is not interested. Has had a woman that was not interested in him when they tried to go over to approach her. That's every man on the planet. Nobody has a perfect track record. Nobody. The flyest, most richest dude you know has been turned down at one point in time in his life. The manliest man you know. So it's not some thing that overwhelmingly happens to you, so you can't really put that on your manhood. And another thing, a woman could turn you down for a million reasons. I talked about this in one of my other podcasts that I did a while back, but a woman could turn you down for, it could be a million and one reasons that she's turning you down. She could have a dude already and is actually faithful to the dude. She might not be feeling good that day. I mean, she might have just gone through a breakup. A family member could have passed. Anything. And she doesn't have to sit there and spell it all out for you. You just say, all right, well, it could have been a number of things. She's just not trying to talk to me right now. It's a billion other women on the planet. Oh, well, she turned you down. Keep it pushing. And always be polite. If you get turned down, man, always be polite. I do believe in dating karma. There's never, ever an excuse to be rude. You always keep it polite. Even if they rude to you, hey, who you think you talking to? I don't talk. Don't be talking to me. If they get an attitude with you, say, you know what? I appreciate your honesty. I can respect that. In any event, thanks for talking with me and have a great day. And keep it pushing. I do believe in dating karma, so always keep it polite. Always keep it respectful. Never take it as some type of assault on your manhood. Every man's gone through it. There ain't a man on this planet that ain't gone through it. Oh well. Stop being so sensitive about it. A lot of you men out there get turned down because you lack of confidence, and it builds up this resentment towards women, and it starts festering in you. So you start kind of talking to women real messed up and blaming women for all your problems and coming at them all messed up on these social media platforms. You got this all bent up rage and calling them all types of cunts and stuff like that. Get out of here with that, man, and learn some rules. Learn some rules about actually how to talk to a woman and some game to be actually know how to communicate. And that's another thing, man. A lot of men don't know can't carry a conversation because they're not cultured enough. They don't know enough about anything outside their little neighborhoods or their little world or their little job that they go to. They don't ever read nothing. They don't ever expand their knowledge on anything. So they don't ever have nothing to talk about. They see a woman they're attracted to, and the only thing they can think about is sex. And so that's the only thing that they have to talk about. Hey, you so pretty and your titties are so big and I want to sit on your face and do all this weird perverted stuff, bro. Yo, if a woman turns you down and is not interested, always keep it respectful and polite. Don't, learn some, you can go to my website, learn something about relationships, learn something about how women think and how they move. That way, when you get turned down, you won't have this festering resentment for women built up all up in you. That's not the way to be, fellas. Anyways, that's been this Levels of Love Tips edition. Thank you for rocking with me. I'm going to go ahead and tie it up a little bit earlier tonight. Please do subscribe to the channel. Click like. Feel free to donate to any one of my platforms. The donate link is in the description. It's on rootofalllove.com. It's on thestormypoet.com. Do feel free to contribute. And any dollar amount helps. It helps me get equipment. It helps me. I'm really trying to do live shows. I really want to have call-ins. I want to have people actually give their opinion. I don't want it to be me just talking. I want to have some actual decent conversation. So any dollar amount helps. Please feel free to help me out. I do a lot of community initiatives as well. That helps fund that. And I appreciate you tuning in. Hope you have a wonderful, lovely day or night or morning or wherever you're at. And feel free to holler at me. I'm at T.S.P at thestormypoet.com. Again, that's T.S.P at thestormypoet.com. And my phone number is in the description as well, my business number. And I'll be hollering at all y'all later. Take care of yourselves. Peace.